Hangman Page returned on Collision Saturday night. So they were up against the World Cup. They were up against UFC. To a lesser degree, they were going against the first night of the G1. So a very competitive night. And on Friday, Tony Khan just announced out of nowhere that Hangman Page is back tomorrow night. And he did, in fact, return for the opening segment where he mentioned we hadn't seen him since Revolution when he lost the match to MJF with the stipulation that he stated is not written down and filed away, but instead it's a scout's honor stipulation. He is a man of his word.
It's written in his head.
Yeah. It's written in his head, but perhaps dealing with cervical radiculopathy could affect what is written in his brain, because he said he had been dealing with this.
Isn't that just a fancy word for like a pinched nerve? Which is
the Cleveland Clinic
serious.
defines it as also known as a pinched nerve, a condition that results in radiating pain, weakness, and or numbness caused by compression of any of the nerve roots in your neck. So, I mean, of the neck injuries we have heard about, I'm sure this is not I can actually say, because a few months ago, I did get a pinched nerve in my neck. And it was like, and granted, I'm not comparing myself to a pro wrestler, but it was 2 weeks of like utter agony of just a throbbing headache for 2 weeks straight. Was it nonstop? It was awful.
How'd you fix it?
I just had to wait it out. There's not really a great like it's not like you can just go get it fixed. I just had to like wait it out. But it was awful. Like just imagine like a headache in the back base of your head. And it just constant. But it does not sound like it sounds like he's going to be back in the ring like pronto here based on this appearance. And he said, I can't go for the AEW World Championship, but he listed all the other championships and he's in the right company to have alternative titles to seek. As he listed off the laundry list, the top 4 belts that he's interested in, not going for Bandito's ROH belt, but apparently nobody is. So that was it. He came out, he's a man of his word. And I guess now we start the run up to whenever he has his first match, which has to be imminent, you would think.
Yeah, certainly. If not for Montreal, then of course we're all in. You would expect a pretty meaty program, you would think, for Page. So like I don't think anybody would have expected him to go against his word, or at least like for them not to respect the stipulation after all that, at least immediately. So it reads to me like. Again, I don't know, like Tony says what, this was like Page's idea, right? Or at least like, so I don't know what it is about like certain guys who maybe like dating back to Cody even, maybe they saw it as a challenge to be able to say, hey, I don't even need the championship and I'm still going to be headlining these shows. I want to put it upon myself to be able to elevate these secondary championships to feel like they are big enough to headline a show. Maybe there's like that motivation, amongst these guys to like want to do that. In Cody's case, it was certainly premature. In Page's case, at the very least, he had his moments, right? Like he's had his run. He had the incredible moment last year, and you can at least point to those to be able to say like, okay, like we kind of got some value out of Page at the top. And
they also got a value out of like as much as the Cody decision I would not have done back in 2019. That stipulation did not draw on that pay-per-view that Cody did, but it did draw years later because of the impact of that stipulation being held to. Sure. And the fact is, like, it helped the pay-per-view in March, and I think it helped last week's television number. It was one of their biggest audiences in years. I would just say, like, for this one, I would say if you are going to break this stipulation, then it's a stipulation you can never do again. I would just retire it at that point because like that is something that you have created. But as soon as you break it, I don't think you can put the toothpaste back in at that time. And I would never do it again.
Yeah. If they do break it, I hope they don't do it for a number of years, at least just to kind of like let it like sink in a little bit more. And maybe at this point, like Tony, in agreeing to it, maybe feels confident enough in this current roster that like he can not have a Page, be in the top mix and still be able to fill like these cards with incredible pay-per-views.
There's a lot of depth that you can get around this by having someone as the odd man out of your title picture. I guess it just is what, like, the driving force of one of your key characters, you take that out. It's not impossible. It's you can do it. It's just,
Someday,
are you handicapping yourself, and what is the value of that?
Okay, sure. But let's think about this though. Like, guys can go through a long time before challenging for the title again, right? Like in AEW, it's not like it's a constant, like every few months somebody challenges for a championship on a TV show. Maybe Paige was never like, even planned to challenge for the title like for a year at least anyway, because they have so many other challengers lined up, for whoever's about to be, like for Ospreay, for instance. Like when you consider that, maybe this stip isn't so bad. Again, if they, will eventually go back on this, like maybe in a year's time. But I am interested. Like, I appreciate whether or not it's like best for business. I certainly would question, but I also appreciate like artists that want to challenge themselves, and business people that are willing to, and promoters that are willing to challenge themselves by handicapping themselves in a certain way. It's not the type of like error that I feel we're kind of used to in pro wrestling, where people just like either missed an opportunity or they like book themselves into a situation that like is completely missing the boat. This feels self-imposed, but it also feels somewhat artistically driven. I am kind of curious to see what Paige has for us,
And what would push him to break this stipulation?
Sure.
Is his second child still in a crib?
Oh, okay. Somehow another crib invasion would lead to him wanting the title again.
Yeah, Swerve guilts him into fighting him for the title.
Yeah.
It's July on the Post Wrestling Cafe, and that means our extensive G1 coverage begins starting July 11th. We're going to have reviews of every single G1 card right up to and including the finals in the middle of August. Plus, Rewind Away takes a look at 2 episodes of Heels. We're also going to be going back to 2005 for a review of WrestleMania 21, and it is the start of our double shot episodes covering this season of Dark Side of the Ring. Plus, we are going to dive into the 3rd season of WWE Unreal. All that and so much more can be yours by signing up to the Post Wrestling Cafe. It gets you XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, Collision Course on a weekly basis, MCU later, and so much more.